let's talk some of Andrew Yang's policy agendas. Now, he has a couple of interesting ideas. The first one is the universal basic income. Now, that's an idea that has been around for forever, and it basically it seeks to ameliorate inequalities that are implied in a capitalistic system, right? Because literally capitalism is based on inequality. So in order to offset some of those negative effects of a capitalistic system, you do something like give people money. Just give every citizen that lives within that society some money. And that's what the universal basic income is. Now, Andrew Yang's take on the universal income is called the freedom dividend. With the freedom dividend, his plan is to give every American $1,000 a month. And to that I say, that's reinventing the wheel. Like that's a strong policy proposal that will take something that's never really been done before. In essence, it's a Medicare, sorry, not Medicare. In essence, it is a Social Security for all, right? Everyone gets a check, right? And I think it's interesting. Now, the idea is to give $1,000 to every American, no matter, as long as you're a citizen here, you get $1,000. And the idea behind that is to put money in people's pocket. Because when we're talking about an approach to fixing economic problems, we have to think bottom up. For decades and decades, and especially right-wingers, they talk about supply-side economics, right? In other words, you make sure the money is in the hands of the wealthy people and it'll somehow trickle down, right? They had the idea of trickle-down economics, heavily proposed and promoted by Ronald Reagan, and since then, every Republican since. And their whole idea, they say they're cutting taxes, but then they cut taxes on the rich. And the idea is that when the rich have a lot of money, it'll just trickle on down to the poor folk, right? And that's an ass-backwards way of thinking about economics, I think. And it's been proven wrong time and time again, yet Republicans stay talking that crazy shit. Don't let them get you with their jive. So, the UBI, the idea is to put $1,000 into everyone's hands, right? And what'll that do? That'll create disposable income. Or income that can be used, you want to save some, you have like goals, something you want to save towards. It's extra income you can use to do that. And what do most people do when they get $1,000 extra dollars? They spend it. And an economy exists and it thrives due to spending. So put money in the hands of people that are more likely to spend it, and it'll help the economy. And that's what Andrew Yang is talking about here. And I agree with this idea. I think it's interesting. It's ground shaking. It's ground swelling, and it's exactly what this country needs. Ideas like this, right? And I like that idea. Another one of his ideas is Medicare for all. Now, this idea is something I talk about on this show. It's immoral, in my opinion, to have a medical system that's based on whether you can afford the medicine or not. Because you're literally telling people if you can't afford to get your medicine, you should just die. We're saying that's right, and that's not right. That's immoral, highly immoral. To have a private entity, in other words, a bank, in between you and your healthcare provider, it's immoral. Because a bank, their job is to maximize profits. Their job is to make money. And you literally have a system in our current healthcare system where turning patients away or not paying for their health care is profitable. I mean, again, we're talking about reprioritizing, re-understanding what's right. And Medicare for all, in my opinion, it's not reinventing the wheel because every other friggin' country managed to figure out how to do it. But from the American perspective, it is reinventing the wheel because we're so caught up, and I think historically we bow to at the shrine of capitalism. So capitalism is good for anything, no matter what, right? Not true. But for some reason, in our country, we kind of drink that Kool-Aid. And Andrew Yang here, with his idea, with adopting the idea, because it's not his idea, it's a democratic idea, it's been around forever. Highly promoted by Bernie Sanders, as you know. But his idea is basically to introduce that Medicare for all system and take the control away from moneyed interests. Take the control away from banks that get in between you and your doctor. It's a good idea. We speak about Medicare for all. We're going to get into some more other things that he supports, right? He has an idea called human capitalism. Now, this is a change of perspective. This is not reinventing the wheel. Because it's literally him understanding what capitalism is, and taking another perspective. Now, what are some of the core tenets of human capitalism, according to Andrew Yang? This is according to his website. humanity is more important than money. I don't see the shock in that, right? Right? Like that's supposed to be obvious, but within our system, you see those things rub up against each other a lot, like humanity and money interest, and a lot of times money interest wins. We have a private healthcare system. Again, I'm going back to that example because it's so apt, right? Okay. The next